The deadline to fund the government is rapidly approaching. Congress has 8 days to come up with a spending solution, or there'll be another shutdown. This, as the House just voted to approve a defense bill and also to lower drug prices moments ago, and also aiming to vote on impeachment before leaving for the holidays. For more on the mad dash to the 2019 finish line, the end of the decade, let's go ahead and bring in Texas Congressman Jody Arrington. Congressman, great to see you.
Jackie, good to be with you.
There is a lot still to get done, even though much has been accomplished. Do you think it can all be done by the deadline?
Well, I hope so, because the American people and state and local governments, almost everybody in this country except for Congress, has to establish a budget, a responsible budget, and work under that budget. That's not something we're used to. In fact, more often than not, we don't come up with funding for the government, and we punt in the form of continuing resolutions, which cost taxpayers and is really disruptive to our core functioning, especially around the important mission of the military. So I think we're close to a deal, but who knows? But I think there's a 50-50 chance that we get a funding package. I can tell you right now, it's going to be more spending, more deficit spending, and going to continue to increase the debt, which I think is long-term the biggest threat to this country. So
50-50 odds aren't that great as we're approaching the end of the year. Are the Democrats going to make this hard to push through? I mean, that could be a problem for the stock market for sure.
Yeah, you're right. That's another fallout when we can't get our act together. But again, my understanding is a lot of the big poison pills, at least from my side of the aisle, with respect to allowing the president to move money around to address the crisis we have at the border on border wall funding and pro-life issues that will not be threatened. I think we're more than halfway there in covering those issues. So we'll see what happens. I don't think anybody really knows now. They're still working through the details. I'm hopeful we get something before we go home.
Congressman, there are those out there who looked at the events of this week and said it was very difficult for Nancy Pelosi to hand Donald Trump a win with USMCA, but she did realize how important it was really to the American people. But she wouldn't do it in terms of the timing until the articles of impeachment were announced. That's how the game is being played. And there are some who worry that spending, the government shutdown, that will sort of be brought into the fray here.
Yeah, look, we have freer markets thanks to the tax cuts and regulatory relief brought to you by Republicans and this president, and we've seen a tremendous response from our economy, and now we're getting fairer and more balanced trade deals that are in the best interests of our workers, manufacturers, even the playing field, give us access to new markets, as is the case for our farmers in Canada. All in all, though, this was driven by the president, and this was an issue where Nancy Pelosi was really boxed in, was in a position of weakness. She had to give it up as a political chip to get the votes for impeachment from her moderate Democrats. So, yes, she knew this was good for America, and she was worried it'd be a win for Donald Trump, but she had to do it. But I think Donald Trump, in the end, is going to get the credit, as he should. It's been on her desk for a year.
The final question here, real quick, because I'm running out of time. The bill on lower drug prices and also on defense, do you think it has any passive chancing in this, passing in the Senate?
No, this is just another political messaging bill. It's not going to pass and actually do any good for the American people to lower drug prices, especially for our seniors. And we've been saying we have bipartisan agreement on many, many provisions that would lower drug prices without disrupting our innovation ecosystem and providing the most innovative drugs and finding cures to diseases. This would be a disaster, the H.R. 3 bill. So it's going nowhere. It's just socialist policies placed on the pharmaceutical industry, and it's going to die when it passes, as it's passed the House. It's going nowhere.
Congressman, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time today. Great to see you.
You too.